my nation and residents of Istanbul, esteemed guests, I greet all of you with my deepest regards and with great love and great longing.
Şu anda dışarıda bulunan tüm hemşehrilerime
also my fellow residents of Istanbul who are waiting for us outside, I greet them with my most heartfelt sentiments and with my deepest regards as well. In Turkey's history of development, we're turning a new page today. Today, for the development of our country and for the strengthening of our nation, we're taking yet another step. Today, just like late Prime Ministers Menderes or Özal or Erbakan or Demirel, who were some of the important figures in the development of our country. And today we are continuing their legacy. Today we are laying the foundations for the very first bridge on the Canal Istanbul project. This is also the intersection of the Northern Highway, and I hope that this bridge will be auspicious for our nation, our country, as well as our city of Istanbul.
Kanal İstanbul projesini bundan 11 yıl önce
The Canal Istanbul project was first shared with our nation close to 11 years ago. And in this time period, Turkey had some internal and external challenges because of which the progress of the project stalled to a certain extent. And today, we have completed all necessary preparations and we have gathered in order to lay the foundations for the very first bridge. We are at the Sazlıdere Dam area. And why was this project needed? Some people asked. And how do we lay these foundations, even if though it was a bit late? The Istanbul Strait, the Bosphorus, has one of the busiest vessel traffics in the world. In 1930s, close to 3,000 vessels used to cross the Bosphorus in 1930s. But today, this number has reached 45,000 vessels. Only for in-city transport, there are 54 piers on the two sides of the Bosphorus, and 5,000 passengers took boats to cross the Bosphorus for their urban transport. So both from north to south and from east to west, different vessels from every size and every capacity use the Bosphorus in a very busy traffic. Also, the length of the vessels that cross the Bosphorus have increased to 350 meters. Every crossing vessel is a serious threat for the security of the city because they carry different types of loads from oil to organic loads, and in the case of an accident, the natural life in our seas would be gravely impacted as well. If the vessels hit the shore, our cultural heritage is damaged and serious destruction and fires are faced. Residents who are a bit older would remember oil ships which were burning in the Bosphorus for many weeks. So now from here I call out to our youth, to the Generation Z. I call out to all the youth. Everything that happened has not, all these things that used to be experienced in the past, as you can see what we have achieved in the past 20 years. you can see what kind of steps we have taken in the past 20 years. For instance, in the first month of the last year, a big Russian war vessel had an accident nearby and caused a disaster. And since using guide tugs was not compulsory in the Bosphorus, it was increasing the risks in the Bosphorus crossing. For the crossing of big vessels, the Bosphorus has to be blocked off, and the distance that has to be considered between different vessels causes serious delays. Every hour that these vessels spend waiting at the entrance of the Bosphorus is additional cost for them. According to calculations, in the year 2050, 78,000 vessels will cross the Bosphorus, but according to calculations, the secure vessel crossing capacity of the Istanbul Bosphorus is only 25,000. The dirty water, the pollutant water that is caused by the traffic of vessels, which is also polluted by industrial and household wastage, is now at an alarming situation. For instance, when it comes to the sea snot, you can see how the Marmara Sea is suffering. And it's a major trouble. Since we cannot close the Bosphorus to vessel traffic, and for that reason we considered building a new canal for the crossing of vessels. Canal Istanbul is a project that saves the future of the city. With the Canal Istanbul project, our goal, first and foremost, is to ensure the security and safety of the lives and properties of our citizens who live around the Bosphorus. And in order to protect the historical heritage and cultural assets around the Bosphorus, we need this project as well. By decreasing the traffic, we can also decrease the waiting time at the entrance and exit of the Bosphorus, and we can eliminate some of the challenges of navigating along the Bosphorus. These are some other goals of the project. Of course, our country will be able to play a more effective role in global trade and will take a bigger share from transport and logistics corridors, and some other strategic factors can be added to this list as well. 500,000 capacity settlements around the project will also give us alternative areas to settle in the case of an earthquake, and it will be meeting this need. As you can see, this is a project which is able to deliver many benefits all at once as a very productive project. We shared the idea for Canal Istanbul with our nation in 2011 on 27th of April, and since then the project has been studied in every detail. First, the direction was decided, then drilling and preliminary projects, then a more detailed lab and field study, and environmental impact analysis was conducted. Even though there are certain groups who are commenting on issues that are outside their mandate, they are complaining that their opinions was not asked, but every stage of the project was run in line with science and law. And from here, I would like to ask those who are complaining that their opinions was not asked. Please keep in mind, we have received opinions from whoever we needed the opinions from. So far, in this country, you have not built anything. You haven't planted a single tree. You are the ones who objected the Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge. Just like you are going crazy about the Canal Istanbul project, you were doing the same for the Yavuz Sultan Selim Bridge. And we built Marmaray, and before we built Marmaray, similarly, you were trying to prevent us from doing this, but we still achieved it. We built the Eurasia Tunnel. Again, you tried to block us from doing so. We built the Osman Gazi Bridge, and you tried to stop that project as well. We built the Istanbul-İzmir Highway, and you tried to prevent that project as well. If we were listening to you, we would not be able to make any of these projects. We built the first bridge, those who came before us, but you tried to prevent them from doing it as well. Or when it comes to the Fatih Sultan Bridge, you did the same. So if the governments of the time listened to you, we would not have the Martyrs Bridge today, or we wouldn't have the Fatih Sultan or the Yavuz Sultan Selim bridges. We did not pay attention to you, and we said we will keep going. If we had listened to them, we wouldn't be able to do any of the bridges, but we did not listen to them, and we continued on our journey. In these issues, if there was any mistake or any corruption, it would surface already so far. The current route of the canal was selected among 5 alternatives according to the scientific studies as the most productive line. Only during the project preparation, 51 scientists contributed from 11 different universities in addition to 204 other specialists, and during the line of the canal, more than 17,000 meters of drilling was carried out in more than 100 spots, and more than 200 geological studies have been carried out. The leading engineering center of the world prepared a study with 3,500 specialists from different corners of the world. We know quite well what to do and where to do it, and with whom to do it. This is not an inauguration of a small fountain. It's not putting some valves on a fountain. This is one of the exemplary canals of the world. The vessels that will cross this channel and the traffic capacity is going to decrease the traffic at the Istanbul Bosphorus by 90%. And the length of the channel, of the canal is, and I call out to all of our citizens, the length of the canal is going to be 45 kilometers. And the base span will be 275 meters. The depth will be approximately 21 meters. So, in other words, until 275 oil vessels up to 275 meters and container vessels up to 350 meters will be able to cross this canal. It's not an easy job to give them a secure, a safe passage from Istanbul because it bears different types of risk. According to studies, the traffic of vessels at Canal Istanbul will be 13 times more secure compared to doing the same traffic through the Istanbul Strait. Along the canal, there will be in total 6 bridges, one of which we are laying the foundations for today.
Mevcut ana karayolu ulaşım hatlarının tamamı için
For all transport lines, land lines, it will be possible to cross the canal through one of these bridges. From rail line to wastewater or from natural gas to electricity. 25 infrastructure facilities of different types will also be included with the crossing, and they will be completed before the digging for the canal begins. To the right side of the exit on the Black Sea side, there will be a container port and a logistics center. As you can see, this will be a great project. Just like vessels exit towards Black Sea, on the right hand side there will be a logistics center and there will be a great port. This will contribute to the foreign trade of our country. Again, to the left hand side of the Black Sea exit there will be a recreation and renewable energy area which will add further value to the city. On the two sides of the canal, there will be neighborhoods with 500,000 population, which will decrease the pressure on the current Istanbul. The Canal Istanbul project will not only be important for Turkey, but maybe it will be the most environmentally friendly project of the world. 52% of the project space will be used this way, and every part required different efforts, and all the engineering and environmental impact studies was done in line with required techniques and science and in line with law. And there is one more thing that they should know about. The Ministry of Environment and Urbanization is a unique one because environmental impact analysis reports are prepared by the Ministry of Environment and Urbanization. Throughout the process, all the ministries that contributed and mayors, the contracting companies, engineers, specialists, and everyone else, I would like to thank. After this long preparation period, finally, we are breaking the ground for the first bridge that will cross the canal. And in the upcoming period, other bridges on the canal and other infrastructure displacement efforts and the digging will be initiated. Canal Istanbul will have a cost of $15 billion and will be completed in 6 years. The revenue to be collected from the vessels that use the canal and the port and other elements that will be included in the project will also bring additional revenue as well, and Canal Istanbul will be able to finance itself very easily, and this way Turkey will gain a new project without spending a single kurush from the budget of the nation or of the government, and it will gain another world-scale project. The project so far has been followed by us very closely, step by step, and until its completion, we will continue following it very closely and very sensitively. The contribution to the country is much bigger than its financial cost. It will be one of the most important assets of our country and will claim its position in history. I thank God for giving us this opportunity. In Turkey, development steps were taken at the beginning of the Republic era, but There was a mentality which tried to hijack this a short while after, and this mentality still continues. Weapons, pharmaceuticals, planes, all such projects were initiated, but these projects were all blocked by the same mentality. Who is this? It is Republican People's Party. It is CHP. They try to block every step. And the CHP of today is the same, and they still try to bar any effort. And there are those who side with them. Together, they try to block. Nuri Demirağ, who was trying to manufacture planes, or many others who tried to build engines or locomotives, or other unnamed heroes of our republic, our history, their stories are now known by our nation, maybe not the young generation. They don't even know what we achieved 19 years ago. They don't know what we achieved in education or in health or in transport or in energy. They don't know the steps that we have successfully taken so far. They don't know about the transport infrastructure. For instance, the divided roads that they have been built. The highways, unfortunately, these are not known well by the younger generation. Imagine 6,000 kilometers of roads were increased up to 27,000 kilometers, but the young generation is not aware of this. Or the rail line projects which were initiated by Atatürk, they were paused by İnönü as soon as he came to power. You can see the blocking policies of Republican People's Party. That is when such blockage politics started. Until we reinitiated rail line projects, Turkey still had to continue that way. The planes that were manufactured by Nuri Demirağ were not allowed to be produced or sold inside or outside the country, so he had to close down his factory. Our defense industry is able to compete globally thanks to our term in the office. The late Menderes carried out many projects of opening new streets, including the famous Vatan Street. But they were still objecting to it, and they were saying, are you going to use this for landing planes? But we did not limit ourselves to urban areas. We have built bridges, tunnels, divided highways, viaducts all over our country by piercing the mountains when necessary. As Aşık Veysel said, we pierce the mountains and we connect roads to each other with bridges and viaducts. When the Southeast Anatolia project was first mentioned, they objected to it. Or for the Keban Dam, they said you are building a lake for the frogs. And for the power to be generated there, what will you use so much power for? They said. The biggest energy and agriculture project of our country was accelerated and completed by us. The Southeast Anatolia project and the first bridge on the Bosphorus, they said it would be used by the lucky few, but once it was completed, they were the first ones to use it. Or in order to prevent the second bridge that would be built by Özal, they did their best. And when it comes to the third bridge that was built during our term, they misinterpreted a court resolution and they said the project could not continue, and they cheered over it. And as we were expanding the Sabiha Gökçen airport, the person leading the CHP said, have you seen any other country which builds airports to where planes cannot land? He was mocking, but today Sabiha Gökçen is one of the most actively used airports of our whole region. The same mentality is still trying to criticize, for instance, our new airport project, which is one of the leading projects in its area in the world. It has become one of the top 3 airports of the world. CHP, you have nothing else to say. And with this airport, we are proud everywhere in the world. They try to slander the projects which undertook this project. The Istanbul airport today is one of the sources of pride for our country, and it has already become a global brand name, just like some of the other investments that we carry out. And thankfully, from under the water we are able to make journeys today, because if we cannot go there by road, it doesn't belong to us. Today, every important monument or project that serves our nation were achieved despite the objections of this distorted mentality. Turkey achieved all of its development steps despite the mentality which had no vision. And now they are objecting the Canal Istanbul project. They are incompetent in politics or in practice, or they are very limited in coming up with real projects. But they do not even know about manners, and they say everything that they can think of. They try to threaten the investors of the project. They say, we are coming to office soon, and once we do, we will not pay you. We will take these investments back from you. They are trying to threaten banks, and they do not even stop there. They even threaten countries that are interested in the project. But this is lack of manners, and this is indecency. When it comes to state affairs, continuity is essential, but they have no such manners. You cannot manage, you cannot run a state, a government. We will take this money from you, they can take this money from you through international arbitration. You should know about these things, because you cannot achieve anything without knowing these. They are real beginners. They are novices about, for instance, how to run a whole country. They say they will not make payments to banks, or they will not carry out their payments to international banks. If our nation was abandoned to the CHP mentality, the country would not have all these factories or these projects. For that reason, we do not take what they say seriously. This nation knows quite well who is trying to come up with new projects, and knows who is just laying without doing any real work. As the older generation said, and as I always said, when people die, they are remembered with what they leave behind. No matter what certain groups try to do, we always try to bring new projects to our country and to our nation. We try to make Turkey one of the top 10 economies of the world, and to increase our political and diplomatic power, and to ensure our security with the broadest terms. And we will continue working day and night for this purpose, by investing more, by producing, by increasing employment, increasing exports and continuing growth, and by using our potential in the fastest way possible. altogether we are going to build a big and strong Turkey. In the past 19 years, from education to health, from transport to energy, or from environment to sports, in every area we have made new projects possible, and this is observed by our nation itself. As the late poet said, you have to judge people by what they do, because you can get their level from their works. And our reference has always been the progress that we have made for the Republic in the past 19 years, and our nation who appreciates this. Our reference is always to bring our country to the highest league in the world in democracy and in economy. Our reference point is the quality of life of all of our citizens, 80 million citizens, and to make new achievements which give them hope. And Canal Istanbul is a new link in this chain of new leaps. We are breaking the ground for the first bridge on the canal, and tomorrow we will start the infrastructure work in the upcoming days, and we will start the building of an important monument. When Sultan Mehmet conquered Istanbul, he had his boats carried over the overland, and we have built multiple bridges on the Bosphorus which drew the admiration of the whole world. For instance, Çanakkale 18th of March bridge is currently under construction, and that will be like a golden horn on the Dardanelles. The Marmaray and Eurasia tunnels connect the two continents from under the Bosphorus. And now currently we are bringing Marmara and Black Sea together with a new strait, and once again we will draw the admiration of the whole world, and may God help us. And I greet all of you with such sentiments, and I wish that the Canal Istanbul Bridge will serve our country and our nation well, and from the first day of the project to the current phase, I would like to congratulate all engineers, architects, all workers who contributed to the project, and may God protect us from every kind of accident and trouble. And as we have decided before, in as short as 6 years we will be able to hopefully complete this project. Thank you very much, and my greetings and love for all of you.
Cumhurbaşkanımız Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan'a konuşmaları için çok teşekkür ediyor ve zat devletlerini bir müddet misafir ediyoruz sahnede. Değerli konuklar, Cumhurbaşkanımız Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan, Kanal İstanbul Sazlıdere Köprüsü temel atma törenini butona basmak suretiyle gerçekleştirecektir. Sayın Cumhurbaşkanımıza refakat etmek üzere Türkiye Büyük Millet Meclisi Başkanımızı sahneye davet ediyoruz. Sayın Cumhurbaşkanı Yardımcımızı, Sayın Bakanlarımızı ve Sayın Genel Başkan Yardımcılarımızı sahneye davet ediyoruz. Buyurunuz lütfen. Evet, sayın milletvekillerimizin de merdivenlere doğru gelmelerini önemli rica ediyoruz. Sayın milletvekillerimizi